Canine handler as a police officer. That was me and my narcotics partner and aggression partner, Pedro. This is my daughter, Jordan. And obviously she has the same kind of love for dogs that I do. This is Mac and I. He's a Swiss Mountain Dog I show professionally in the AKC ring. Mac and I, that was at his championship in November at 14 months old. He is the son of the greatest Swissy ever. His name is Oliver. They live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Mannheim. And Oliver is, if you ever go on Animal Planet, look up Swiss Mountain Dogs, that's Oliver. So I've actually gotten to handle Oliver in the ring as well. He is a platinum status champion for the AKC, so really cool. I have his granddaughter, her name is Rainy. Obviously, I have a love for, thank you, dear.
Oh, God.
I only need two.
Call me back.
All right. Obviously, I have a love for Swiss Mountain Dogs. Not by choice, more by cool. No worries. Anyways, so this is one of the training dogs. Obviously, I work for Off Leash Canine Training. I own Worcester. I know it says Worcester. I don't understand why they say Worcester, but it's Worcester, Massachusetts. And I'm the lead trainer for Harrisburg, Pennsylvania Off Leash Canine. So I'm about 3.5 hours west of here. And then this is obviously some of the dogs that I was training. So it gives me a little bit of a reason to talk to you. The camera is running. The only reason that is because I'm actually doing a course for Penn State in business management. And I had to do I'm in a group presentation class, right? So I'm like, oh, how good does this get? So my instructor will probably be mad that he's listening from behind me, but you know, we got what we got, so it is what it is. So objectives tonight. Discuss how to prevent dog fights. Discuss what to do if a dog fight occurs. Discuss basic dog greeting skills, and discuss basic dog handling. The best way to handle dog fights, any guesses?
Prevention.
Prevention, right? Nobody wants to have a dog fight. Trust me, stitches, you don't want dog fight. So that was a rescue dog that I went to rescue. The only thing I can say is, if you have a dog that's already putting 2 people in the hospital, it's probably good to tell the trainer that when he shows up, to rescue the dog and take him to another home that the dog has previously put 2 people in the hospital. They did not tell me. Thankfully, I was wearing a very heavily padded jacket, and when the Cane Corso came around, he was on my arm, so that quick. No low throaty growl, no warning signs like, hey, you're about to get bit. I'd actually visited with the dog before and he didn't bite me then, so for whatever reason he decided he got me then. But prevention, right? Prevent them. How do we do that? Great question. Know the warning signs. Enact safety procedures and ensure compliance. Everyone is a safety officer. It's something we say in the fire department again and again. Everyone is a safety officer. Everyone here should be willing to point out and be comfortable enough to look at the person beside you and say, what you are doing is unsafe. You are going to get hurt, right? Everyone's a safety officer. Not everybody may be in charge, but everybody's a safety officer. Everybody wants to go home here without stitches, hopefully. Warning signs. Intense stare, right? Everybody knows that lock eye contact with dogs is not always a good thing. What do they always tell you? Prevent eye contact, right? Don't look down at the dog and stare in their face. A good way to get bit. I deal with a lot of aggressive dogs for off-leash canine. I do not let any of my trainers handle aggressive dogs beside myself. And that's just because of my years in canine. Chicks dig scars, so I'd rather get bit. Right? Isn't that right? Listen, this drive here, I had a full head of hair before I got here. Like Elvis style, but ears that are laid back flat or standing straight up, right? Obviously laid back, fear, right? Standing straight up, they're attentive. Bared teeth, curled lips. Yes, they can smile when they're excited, right? We've all seen dogs that do that, or we say smile, and they give us that smile, and you only hope that it's not the Cane Corso coming to bite you. But you'll be able to tell by the rest of the dog's body language that the dog's not aggressive, we hope, right? Because by the time you leave here, you should have some good signs of that. Slightly upturned nose, not a pig nose, right? But slightly upturned. Why? Because they bare their teeth, right? So when they do that, their nose upturns a little bit. So if you can't see from the side of their mouth, you can still tell the dog is snarling, right? You see the little puffs go up. Right? So I grew a beard just so I could do that. Guarding posture, which is dog neck lower than shoulder level, and his head is lowered and stretched forward. Guys, big area, right? Big area of vital organs. So what's a dog's natural tendency before it's about to go down? Drop your head. Why? To protect our chest. Thick skulls, right? How many of you have been knocked in the head by a dog jumping up and they get the skull into your face? That hurts, right? Yeah. That's like an everyday thing for me because it's crazy. And I hope I will do my best not to swear. But if I do, I'm sorry. But the, yeah. But they lower that head and they're going to protect those vital organs. Hair standing up, starting in the neck, right? We say the hackles are up, right? That's a good thing to pay attention to. You don't need to know piloerector reflex, but that's the hackles are up. Everybody's smiling. Is my fly unzippered or something?
Better not, like I
I'm not going to jail tonight. Squared off, tense, and very quiet stance, right? They're going to square up, right? You hear that all the time, square up. Stiff and straight tail are one that's very high over the dog's back. Short staccato wags, right? Little helicopter going.
So just because the dog's tail isn't wagging, you need to understand that sometimes that means like it's about to go down. So know the difference between a happy wag and like it's going down wag.
Well, the other thing with that, I mean, I used to tell people all the time, they're like, oh, Pedro's so nice because his tail's going. His tail went when he was on the bike. You know what I mean? He'd be hanging off the guy on the bike sleeve or the few criminals I ever had to send him on. Because the good thing about Pedro was from Slovakia and he was handpicked by the Navy SEALs. So he was a Shepherd Mallee mix. So everybody wanted to know what it was like to have a Mallee. And I said, look, in the morning, you wake your dog up, give him 10 cups of coffee, and you let him snort a line of Coke off the table. There's your Mallee, right? That's what you have. It didn't ever go over when I said that at the elementary school, but...
As a canine pup?
Right, yeah. Not my fault, my dog. He was a drug-sniffing dog. What do you expect? I didn't mean he could find drugs. He just sniffed drugs. You know? But that was the good thing about Pedro. Most of the guys didn't run from him too far. So, but he had that big body build to him, and he would give them that eye stare, and then they were like, okay, put my hands up, do the hokey pokey, whatever. Hard eyes, direct stare. The dog on the left, you can see the head's low, right? Mouth's closed, and you can see the curl at the corners of the mouth. See the little puffs right there. That tells you he's getting ready to snarl. Versus this, relaxed, soft eyes, right? Happy puppy. And the mouth's open. That's another thing you often see is the dog's mouth goes closed. Ears laid back. Bared teeth, I think they're friends. That's the way Dina always treats me, at least.
Yeah,
Ears laid back, bared teeth, curled lips, upturned nose, right? You see it all right there. There's the upturned nose. You see the little puffy cheeks, right? That's not cute. That's about to go down. It's a little bit hard to see here, but you can see defensive aggression on this side. There's two different types of aggression, right? You have a defensive dog and an offensive dog. Offensive is the dog's coming to FSU, right? With the aggressive attack versus defensive aggression where the dog's going back into a stance, lowering the head, tucking the tail between the legs. I was saying about Pedro, his tail. When he would bite somebody, his tail would go like this, right? And they're like, oh, I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. Just because his tail's going does not mean a dog is friendly, right? He could be thinking, it's going to be a lot of fun to bite you, right? So, the wolf in sheep's clothing, right? But we talk about like the teeth bares, the snarling, the charging, putting that weight forward. That dog's going to come in. This dog's ready to attack. This dog's settling back into fearfulness. This dog's coming at you. Safety procedures. I'm sure, and I didn't get to review them, so the next time I do this, we'll have a little bit more of a review of safety procedures that are in the kennel and put into place already. But one of the things we always did in canine was dog coming in, dog coming out, right? Go to open this door and we're coming into this room. I'd stick my head in and say, dog coming in. And then somebody in here can say, all right, come on in. Or no, don't come in, right? Dog coming out. I go out the door to go outside. I don't know if there's a dog right outside the door. With all these people in this room, it's bound to happen where two dogs are going to come face to face. So if you just open the door, stick your head through and say, dog coming out. All right, come on out. Well, you got your clear, right? If you're the only one here, then you're probably okay. Dogs probably aren't going to
Unless the ghost is walking dogs. But
Right,
I don't
yeah,
know.
and I mean that happens. All dogs have collars on when they're out of the kennels. Is that true here?
Yep.
We aren't letting dogs out
Coming
without
out of the
collars.
kennels. Sometimes in their kennels, if they bite them off, like DJ or some other dogs.
Huskies.
But
yeah.
coming out of the kennel or en route out of the kennel, they should have at least a martingale or a flat collar on.
There you go. I don't know how huskies do it. I think every husky I've ever had has eaten their collar at the training facility. So I don't know how they do it. They have like some weird contortionist stuff going on, but they do it. Leashes are used to take dogs to the yard and return to the kennel area. If you're just letting a dog out and loose, it's only a matter of time till this catches up with you. And guys, let's be real. As far as a dog fight, it's not if it happens, it's when it happens, right? So you need to take the proper precautions because coming off of getting bit last week, I would not recommend it. It's not going to feel good when you try to put yourself between two dogs. Indicators for when aggressive dogs are in the yard. I don't know if you have that.
Yeah.
If there's a
So Lola, hey, Lola's one of our more seasoned volunteers. She always lets everybody know biters in the yard, biters coming through. There's Dominica, her husband Mike Riley. Sometimes if we need extra help, I'm trying to think. I can't break my brain because somebody said something. Sunday Mike. There are certain peoples that handle certain dogs.
Right.
Lola's here right now, so I apologize for somebody who's upset with me saying only Lola was here.
Nobody moves when the biters are moving.
good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then
Good.
when they're out in the yard, everybody's notified that the biters are out
Yeah.
in the yard.
Perfect.
We do have Azul that'll come up behind you and
Yeah.
get you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Yeah. At our rescue, we always had a red flag. We would hang out
Yeah.
when there was an aggressive dog in the yard.
That's good.
But it's just something. It's an indicator, right? Because somebody walks in and they're trying to do what's best, and then next thing you know, they don't know there's an aggressive dog out. And well, we told everybody, yeah, but Joe Schmo just walked in the door and didn't know. Now we have an issue. So we always hung a red flag on the door, and that signified there was an aggressive dog in the yard.
Right.
Dogs are properly vetted, character tested before being allowed to interact with other dogs. It should be senior members of the staff are vetting a dog and saying this dog is okay with other dogs and this dog is absolutely not, right? If you're not comfortable making that determination, then don't, okay? Because you're just going to cause a dog fight. Two people should always be present during dog introductions. 2 people. They always say it takes 2 people to break up a dog fight. It's pretty valid, especially if you're trying to do it without getting hurt. Muzzles are used when necessary. Everybody knows how to fit check a muzzle, right?
No,
No.
not a lot of them.
Okay. So muzzles are used when necessary. If you're bringing an aggressive dog out, and obviously your policies here dictate, right? I'm just talking about the way that our rescue runs and the way that I've dealt with aggressive dogs. And like I said, handling police canines, they all hate each other. I don't know why, but for the most part, they don't like each other. They're all alpha male dogs or alpha female dogs, so they all want to just go at it all the time.
There's only a select few that handle aggressive dogs. We don't allow anybody else to handle them.
Okay.
So the only time they would come in contact with them is if, God forbid, somebody got loose, or if there's a big sign on their kennel that says "Caution, dog will bite," and inevitable somebody's going to test that and go, "Oh, you bite? Hi."
I always tell my customers a story about my mom quickly. Everybody wants to test that. Everybody wants to, I'm a great dog handler, so I'm just going to go in that kennel and get the dog out. My mom, I grew up old school. My parents were born in the 40s. So I knew well what the wooden spoon was like. And the thing with my mom is I always wanted to know, is she really going to hit me with that wooden spoon? Because she'd always threaten, right? And then I'd back down. So one day I was like, hey, Mom, pound sand, right? So it turns out she was serious. She was going to hit me with the wooden spoon. And when I climbed the tree to get away from her, because I thought that's genius, right? Yeah, no, not really. Because my mom had nothing better to do than sit at the bottom of the tree and read a book until I came down. And even like 2.5 hours later, she was still ready to beat me. And she did. So, I learned you probably don't test that twice. So don't be the time you learn that you're not good at handling aggressive dogs, the time that you go into a kennel without permission. You'll be sorry. Pay special attention to food and toy aggression. If you know you have a food aggressive dog, don't be handing dogs treats while they're all in a circle, right? Like, oh, look, you know, Fluffy's aggressive. Here you go, right? Fluffy's probably going to bite the other dogs to get that toy or that food. So be mindful of that. If you're going to give them treats, that's fine. If you can handle the aggressive dog, that's fine. Hand him his treat, put him back in his kennel. Don't leave them all out together. It's just, again, prevention, right?
Chris, one more thing. So, especially with Azul and Xena, they do have some issues with guarding certain toys, bones, raw hides, any type of treat that's going to take them longer to eat. Regardless if you handle them or not, there are others that need to take them out, and they're not going to stop or not guard that thing just because they're friendly with the person taking them out. So if there's a note on the door that says no toys, no treats, no blankets, please pay attention to that, because that's going to be a safety precaution that everybody needs to follow, so the next person that needs to take that dog out isn't put in a dangerous situation. Because I know countless amount of times Lola or Andrew have come in to take Azul out, for instance, and somebody slipped them a rawhide. It can get dangerous really fast. And they're not going to stop just because they're friends with Lola, Andrew, or whoever else they're friendly with that takes them out. So that needs to be taken literally. If they're food aggressive, obviously you're not going to go in there and try to take their food away. Take those signs literally. Yeah, bowls of food especially too.
So can we tell the difference? Play bow, right? You see that dog get down and do that bow? That's putting themselves at a disadvantage. You're not often going to see that with an aggressive dog before it goes into the attack with another dog, because it's just like going down and going belly up, right? One of the most vulnerable positions. I tell all my clients there's 2 times, like dogs spin in circles before they lay down, and what else? Before they what else? Take a crap, right?
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom, right? Any idea why? Exactly. Instinctual, right? They have no freaking clue why they do it. They just spin in circles. It looks funny, right? But what they're actually doing is 360ing their position. I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. Okay. 2 worst times to be attacked: when you're sleeping and when you're taking a crap. So, you know, that's what they're doing, right? They're checking it out. So he's trying to initiate play. He drops down. It's basically a sign of, hey, let's have some fun. Let's get into something. Silly open mouth grin, right? Dino, all the time. Exaggerated bouncy movements. It looks silly, right? They're playing and we're laughing, and that's a good time. It's when they tense that body posture up, we need to start working. Loud, continuous growling and snarling. I don't know how many of you experienced truly aggressive dogs or dogs that are about to attack. A lot of times they don't give a big growl. It's very low, very quiet, and it's happening quick. So if you're hearing a loud, continuous growling and barking at each other, most of the time, I would say that's play.
So, for example, Spike, when you're coming up to the kennel or it's time for him to go out, you know how he's jumping all around and growling, all that stuff? That means that he's excited. So that's just an example, like in kennel, that you guys, most of you have seen. He is pretty whiny. Yeah.
They make themselves vulnerable. They fall down, they go belly up, right? And they kind of switch positions. If you always have one dog going down and going belly up, that's dominance, right? But if they're both doing it and they're playing chase, how about you remind me?
Let's not cross this one off the list.
Yeah, let's not do that. You know, they take turns chasing each other. What we want to see is we want to see the dogs taking turns, one being the aggressor, the other one being, you know, we want that to go. If we see a group of dogs ganging up on another dog, don't allow it. Don't allow it. Because it's only going to go downhill from there. They keep going back for more. And dogs that are fearful will withdraw themselves from the pack and stay withdrawn. They don't re-engage to keep the play going. They take off and they're in their corner. It's about to go down, right? So pay attention to that. If they're re-engaging, they're playing. Unless they're ripping each other's ears off, then they're not playing. Stiffness, right? And the aggression side right there. They get very stiff. Hackles go up. Closed mouth, curled lip, low warning growl. Talk about the growling. Quick and efficient moves, no bouncing or turns, right? They're going to fight, so they're going to square off and face each other. They're not going to turn their body away or turn their back to somebody they don't trust. Pin flat, lips curled, no silly smiles. If the dog gets, there you go, into combat, hopefully it'll be very quick and the other dog will leave the area. There won't be going back for more play. And dog's trying to get away from the other one, right? I already said that. Tail is tucked. If the dog doesn't look like it's having fun, it probably isn't having fun. Introductions. If it's an unknown dog, I don't think you guys are probably walking dogs out in the community, or are you?
It's more so there's like the Dunkin' Donuts complex and the marketplace. I think some of us go, and then some of us even go further down to the community, right? Some of us go down further. There are and Cheesequake, yeah, when they go out to events.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Cheesequake Park?
No, what's up with Cheesequake itself?
I don't know. It's just the name.
I thought it was cheesecake. I got excited. I was like, yes! And then I was like, what the heck's Cheesequake? That doesn't even make sense.
So sometimes they interact. There's, I think the owner of the karate school has that black lab that walks by sometimes. And there are some people that will walk their dogs. It's not very heavy traffic in this general area, but with a lot of times the dogs will go out on day trips. You know, they go to the beach, they go to the park. So there is opportunities for other dogs. They go to Yappy Hour in Asbury Park. It's the bar. Yeah.
Cool. If it's an unknown dog, ask the owner, is your dog friendly? Like, why wouldn't you ask, right? Sometimes they're going to lie. Don't get me wrong. I've noticed that not everybody is truthful about that, right? This was a great dog until it bit me. And then they remembered the dog put 2 people in the hospital. Take the dogs.
About that.
Yeah, you know, it was a little scary situation. I don't get scared often, but that was, thought he was going to come off the bite and go on my face. That's what I was more worried about.
Yeah.
God didn't bless me with a whole lot of looks, so I'm trying to keep what I got. You know? Take the dog for a walk together. Keep them about 10 foot apart, and so they can learn to, so they can't greet each other or stare into each other's eyes. Right? The strongest sense for a dog is smell. So we want them to get used to the other dog's smell being there. That's why you can put them into put one into a play area, take it out of that play area, put the second one into the play area. It smells the first one. It becomes a natural smell. That's a good way to have the dogs greet. Have them meet in neutral territory. I cannot stress that enough. Don't put them into the kennel together. Have them meet in what we would consider a neutral territory. They should have leashes on. If it's the first time they're meeting each other, they should have leashes on. Why? So we can separate them quickly. The worst time to try to put a leash on a dog is when it's clamped down on another dog. You're going to be sorry. And the other thing is leash pressure can sometimes cause fear aggression, because what happens, the dog's like, I'm not going to be able to get out of this situation. I'm stuck here. So what happens, they become fearful, they tense up. They think they can't escape, they fight. They should circle in an arc. They should never greet face to face, right? So they should be kind of circling around each other, trying to sniff each other's behinds, right? That's what we want to see. If they're going face to face and you're seeing that body posture tense up, stop. That's not the way to let the dogs greet. The other thing is, once you've had a bad exposure with 2 dogs, it's tough to fix it after that. So I'd rather you introduce, let them sniff each other, take the dogs away, and leave it positive, right? Good puppies, done. Bring them back together later and increase the time, rather than just saying throw them in a pit and let's see how it goes. Do not intro dogs if you're not comfortable doing such. The mirror theory. This is one of the theories that I tell my clients with the aggressive dogs. The dog does not ever look in the mirror and say, Mommy's nervous because I'm an asshole. The dog never does it, right? Ever. The dog does not look in the mirror and go, Mommy's nervous about me because I'm an asshole, right? So what the dog does is, it looks in the mirror and he's like, I'm beautiful. I'm Mommy's boy, right? Mommy loves me. I'm part of the pack, right? And so what happens is, our anxiety goes up, adrenaline exudes off our breath, and then the dog starts looking for where that's coming from. Mommy's nervous because you're an asshole, but he doesn't see that, right? So he's like, why is Mommy nervous? It's that guy, right? It's that dog. That's why Mommy's nervous. So then he protects the pack, right? What's he going to do? He's going to go after the other dog. He's going to bark at the person. And then every time that happens, it's like this huge OODA loop, right? It goes up. Your anxiety goes up, the dog goes up. You go up, the dog goes up. And then we have these aggressive dogs that aren't necessarily aggressive, but because we're giving them signals without thinking about it. If you're nervous, your dog already knows it. I'm telling you, from years of being a canine police officer, my dog knew when it was cool, and my dog knew without me saying anything when it was about to go down. He knew. So, and I always trusted my dog's instinct more than I trusted anybody else's, right? The cops would be like, oh, what's the guy in the red shirt? And I'll be like, little gun sights down here. Watch the guy in the black shirt, because that's who he's watching. That's who's going to break back. And he was always right. He knew. He could tell who was nervous in the crowd and who was just backing up because they were scared, right? he knew who was guilty. So they're lucky he wasn't on a jury because it would have been bad.
That's a thing with Azul too. If you guys ever need to close him in with his guillotine and he kind of jumps up and snarls at the gate, you know, he's a bully. Azul's a bully and we all know that. So he kind of feeds off of that fear and that hesitation. So if you are nervous, even closing the guillotine, don't do it. You don't even need to get him all riled up. You can get me, get somebody else who's confident around him, even as simple as closing a guillotine door. So you don't kind of want to give him that advantage over it, where he's not necessarily going to get you in the guillotine, but there was an instance where somebody forgot to put a carabiner on. He jumped up and slipped the door open. That can turn very bad very fast. I mean, Lola and I had an instant with Azul where Azul grabbed me. I am fine with Azul. Lola's fine with Azul. So it doesn't matter if you're good with him or not. Certain dogs will just go after you. So that is something that could be very, very dangerous. So if, like I said, if you're nervous around him, don't even be around him because he's going to sense that.
Yeah, if a dog can smell your urine and tell you if you have cancer, or a dog can smell your sweat glands and tell you if you're a diabetic, don't tell me a dog doesn't know when you're nervous or scared. They know, right? Let them sniff one another and then call them away. Always try to end on positive, right? I don't care if it's 2 minutes. Let them sniff each other for about 2 minutes, take them away. End it on a positive note as often as possible. Take the new dog inside first and then bring the resident dog in. That's a very important thing, right? Because the resident dog is going to protect territory. So if you take the new dog in first, the new dog's not trying to figure out the new stuff that's going on. Like when I walked in here, it was like chaos, right? I was like, oh crap, right? That's probably not the way that I would say we would want a dog to feel when a dog walks in, like cramped and enclosed and I'm out of place. And because what are they going to do? They're going to be fearful, right? I didn't know how many of you were going to beat me up when I came in the door. So you notice I didn't turn my back to you at first. No, I'm just kidding. So now what, right? The inevitable happens. It's going to happen. Plain and simple. I hope it never does. I hope I come back and give this speech, for the next 10 years and it never happens.
It happened.
Oh, it happened within the last couple months.
Yeah, we had a meet and greet go horribly bad.
There you go. I mean, so now what, right? How to break up a dog fight. Stay calm. Right? The natural thing everyone wants to do is like run in circles, the sky's falling, right? And no, it's not going to help anything. Screaming and yelling at the top of your lungs is probably not going to help anything. It's going to amp the dogs up more, and it's either going to, heaven forbid, there's more than one dog in there. They're all going to go into protection mode. Then you're going to have, like, it's funny with my dogs, my Swissy and my female Shepherd. I guess I should have said that. I have four, including Ben. But they'll team up on me if I'm acting like I'm gonna grab my daughter or whatever. They'll come and then when the Swissy jumps at me to keep me away from her, which I teach her to do, so I'm happy with that, right? Then the Shepherd jumps on her for trying to keep me away, So they're gonna gang up, right? So the best thing we can do is hopefully it's only two dogs. If it's more than one dog, you need help. You need help. Always minimum of two. So the first thing that happens is you should be staying calm and you should call for help. Help me. I don't care. I assume most of the time there's more than one person here. So you should be calling for help. Do not use your body to separate the dogs. You're going to be a bite pillow. Plain and simple, I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen. If you put your body between two dogs that are fighting, welcome to stitches. You're getting them. Create a distraction. That's on the next page, right? Place something solid between the dogs or pick one up. That's what, when we were in canine, right? And let's say we had loose dog. Because that's the number one thing everybody should yell. If a dog gets loose, you should be yelling, loose dog, loose dog, loose dog, right? To let everybody know that there's a dog that's loose in the facility or out in the yard, whatever it may be. Loose dog. One of the things we would do in canine is if we heard loose dog, we immediately had to pick our dogs up and put them on our shoulders. If you can do it, great. Some of you probably aren't, but little Fluffy, you can pick him up and hold him, right? If I can put my beast of a canine, Pedro was 85 pounds, I could military carry him on my shoulders. In fact, you had to graduate the academy. Just stay with the little dogs. You'll be fine. Pick them up, put them in your pocket, right, and then separate them.
Would you recommend having bite sticks on hand in a central area?
You can use bite sticks. I'm not a big fan of bite sticks because they will break dogs' teeth if used improperly. but they can be used. I think it's a training issue. So you need to be trained in proper use of bite sticks. But as far as something solid, it could be, I don't care. It could be a baby gate. It could be a piece of cardboard. Anything that's you can drop down between them. That's going to get them separated or keep them once they break. Get the dogs back into their kennels, right? Don't be like, oh, they fought, now they're going to love each other. No, probably not. Do an immediate injury assessment on people and dogs involved. First off, the people who broke it up, their adrenaline is way up here, so they're not going to realize they're bit, so they could be bleeding, right? When he bit me, I knew I was bit, but I didn't realize how badly until I got my jacket stripped off and I could see the bone, and then I was like, okay, well, you got me good. So, immediate injury assessment on people first, dogs second, right? Because we need to know how bad the dogs are. The other thing that I'll go into a quick story real quick that goes in line with this. So I had a dog that came to me because he was supposed to be aggressive. When he was with me, big male shepherd. When he was with me and my dogs, he was excellent. Excellent. The whole time the girl was in Japan, no problems. I had trained the younger sister. The younger sister went to grandma's, right? Because grandma liked that dog, the shepherd. She didn't like him because she couldn't control him. So he came to me. He played great with my dogs. We didn't have any problems. Little growling at first. Proper introductions were done. He was fine. When she came to pick him up, she brought little sister along. So what my female shepherd see? Little sister, who she knew from the time she was a puppy and wanted to play with. Well, he's been great with her, right? So what do? We let her out. They're all playing in the yard. All of a sudden, he goes into protection mode over little sister, and guess what happens to my female shepherd? She had to wear a t-shirt for like 3 months. So it was funny when she saw this, I think she was trying to tell me, like, Dad, you gotta wear a t-shirt but she got right here, he had her, and I jumped in and separated them, and she literally had to have surgery and be stapled back together, and right, so it happens that quickly, and it was a dog that was friendly with my dog before. So don't just assume, well, they got along great yesterday. Well, guess what? For whatever reason, dog's in a bad mood today. That doesn't mean they're getting along today, right? So you need to pay attention to all those indicators we talked about.
Or if they state that they're good with other dogs, period. Because in the instance that we had, the dog was supposedly very good with other dogs, big dogs, small dogs, kids, whatever. And that dog wanted to kill Mishka, like wanted to kill her. So don't just, assume it kind of takes into consideration that just because they're good with other dogs, that doesn't mean they're going to be good with that dog or those group of dogs.
When you have a dog that's latched on to another dog, like the incident that we were out there for about
20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're going to go into that too. Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I ain't going to. So, distractions. Air horn or whistle. They have those, like the rape whistle type setups that are really loud, or an air horn. If you don't have an air horn here, I'd recommend you get one. Because that push of that button sometimes is loud. Obviously, they use them on boats, right?